You know that exact moment the alarm clock goes off?
Oh, yeah. The absolute worst part of the day.
Right. You're lying there, and for just a split second, before all the stress of the day hits you, before like the emails and the obligations crash into your brain, there's just the stark physical reality of waking up.
Just you and the ceiling.
Exactly. Well, welcome to the deep dive. I'm so glad you're joining us today because we are looking at something that perfectly captures that exact feeling.
It really does.
We have this fascinating conversational transcript titled The Rhythm of Routine and Personal Growth. And it features a dialogue between two young individuals, Daniel and Hella.
And, on the surface, it reads like a completely mundane record of their day, right from the moment they open their eyes to the moment they go to sleep.
Yeah, and honestly, if you only read it on the surface, you might wonder why we are even analyzing it at all.
Good point.
But the beauty of this text lies in its hidden architecture. This dialogue is a perfectly structured blueprint of human development.
Yeah, it traces the trajectory from being basically a purely biological creature in the morning to becoming a strategic architect of your own life by the evening.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our mission today isn't just to recap what they did. We want to figure out how mastering the simple, tangible actions of the morning builds the absolute foundation for those massive, long-term life goals.
Right, the big stuff.
Yeah. We are going to see how, literally, putting on your slippers is directly connected to standing under a cherry blossom tree in Japan.
Which sounds crazy, but it totally tracks. The transcript begins with the heaviest emphasis on the physical body, like the beginner level.
The beginner phase, yeah.
Right. Before Daniel and Hella are students, before they are workers, before they're friends, they're just biology trying to boot up.
Just trying to function.
Exactly. Hella wakes up at 6 a.m., opens her eyes, stretches her arms, and puts on her slippers.
Yeah.
And Daniel, he candidly admits that his morning involves yawning incredibly loudly.
Haha, I love that detail.
It's so relatable. They wash their faces with cold water, they brush their teeth, and these aren't just throwaway details, right? They are the physiological reset buttons of the human animal.
I think of this entirely like booting up a computer and checking the hardware.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Like before you try to run any complicated software, before you try to write an essay or negotiate a deal or whatever, you have to make sure the physical machine is functioning.
You have to plug it in.
Right. You check if the fan works, if the power supply is stable. Stretching your arms and washing your face with cold water, that's the human equivalent of a hardware diagnostic. You are basically jump-starting the autonomic nervous system.
And if you fail to boot up that hardware properly, the advanced cognitive software is going to crash by noon.
100%.
Like that loud yawn Daniel talks about. That's a literal oxygenation tactic by the body to wake the brain up. But there is a really profound social layer here, too. Well, these basic routines are the ultimate equalizers. Notice how Daniel and Hella build rapport through these shared physical realities before they tackle any heavy intellectual topics.
Okay, but let me push back on this a little bit. Is there really hidden value in those hyper-specific, mundane details?
I mean, yes.
Because, like, they spend time talking about the fact that Hella's coffee was surprisingly hot at first and burned a bit. Why do we connect so well over something that tiny? Is it just small talk to fill the silence?
It's not just filler. Consider the neurobiology of empathy for a second.
Okay.
If I tell you I am worried about my 5-year career trajectory, your brain has to do a lot of abstract processing to understand my anxiety.
Right. I have to think about it.
Exactly. It takes cognitive effort. But if I tell you I took a sip of surprisingly hot coffee and burned the roof of my mouth...
Ouch. Yeah, I felt that immediately.
See? You instinctively draw breath. You can almost feel that phantom sting on your own tongue. It completely bypasses the intellectual brain and hits your nervous system. By starting their conversation with these shared, tangible sensations, Daniel and Hella are synchronizing their physical states. They are establishing trust through shared vulnerability.
That reframes the entire concept of small talk for me. They are essentially proving to each other that they exist in the same physical reality before they try to exist in the same intellectual space.
Exactly.
And you start to see their core personalities bleed into these early hardware checks, too.
Yeah.
Like Daniel mentions that he combs his hair before he even eats and just throws on a black hoodie and jeans.
Classic Daniel.
Right. But Hella prioritizes choosing her outfit carefully, landing on a crisp white shirt and blue pants.
Yeah. And we are looking at two entirely different psychological strategies for facing the day here.
Which is fascinating.
Daniel choosing a black hoodie and jeans is a classic defense against decision fatigue. Every choice we make, no matter how small, drains a tiny bit of cognitive energy.
So true.
So by standardizing his wardrobe to comfortable, dark, simple clothes, he is preserving his mental RAM for the challenges he knows are coming later.
While Hella is using what psychologists call enclothed cognition,
Yes.
she's putting on a white shirt, a garment that stains easily, that demands good posture, that requires care. She is setting a deliberate intention. The outfit is a form of psychological armoring.
She's suiting up.
Literally, she is telling her brain, I am put together, I am presentable, and I'm ready to interact with the world.
Mm.
And their breakfasts follow this exact same divergence, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Daniel actually cooks scrambled eggs and makes tea. He starts his day with an act of creation. But Hella keeps it highly streamlined with just toast and that famously hot coffee.
And the way they transition out of the house and into the world further highlights these different strategies.
The commute.
Right, the commute. Daniel spends 10 minutes standing at a bus stop. He is static, waiting entirely at the mercy of a public transit schedule.
Just
Exactly. Meanwhile, Hella walks to school in nice weather. She spots a neighbor walking a dog. Her nervous system gets to slowly integrate into the community through movement and sunlight, whereas Daniel is just enduring a frustrating passive wait.
Yet the moment they arrive at school, that solitary morning bubble just bursts completely.
It's gone.
They greet their waiting friends, the teacher walks in, and the software starts running at full capacity.
Huh.
Hella immediately feels the drag of a long math class, while Daniel finds his brain fully engaged in an interesting science lesson.
They aren't just bodies anymore.
No, the external demands have officially arrived.
And this brings us to the intermediate level of the day. We watch them shift from acting autonomously to reacting to the environment.
The chaos.
Total chaos. The predictable mechanics of brushing teeth and making eggs are gone. The day has thrown them into the deep end, which brings a massive spike in cognitive load and stress. Hella explicitly talks about feeling heavily burdened, describing herself as pretty busy and just overwhelmed by a mountain of homework.
And we've all been there. It's the point in the day where you realize you are no longer in control of your own time.
You're just putting out fires.
Right. So how do they cope? Well, Daniel's immediate response is to create a comprehensive to-do list to stay organized, which Hella even points out is a smart move.
It's incredibly smart, because a to-do list is much more than just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It is a profound tool for anxiety management. When you have a dozen tasks swirling around in your working memory, your brain constantly triggers low-level threat responses because it's terrified of forgetting something critical.
Well, that makes so much sense.
So by writing it down, Daniel is externalizing the chaos. He's taking the abstract terror of too much to do and trapping it in a physical, manageable space.
He is reclaiming control over his environment.
Exactly. The psychological relief of the Zeigarnik effect, which is the tendency to obsess over uncompleted tasks that's neutralized the moment the task is safely recorded on paper.
That's brilliant. But look at the stark contrast in how they take their breaks from this stress. Hella physically leaves her environment. She walks to a cafe, orders a latte, and sits in a new space.
A total reset.
Right. But Daniel stays home and grinds through his emails all evening, relying entirely on internal willpower.
It's a huge difference.
I call this the pasta versus podcast divide, and it becomes even more obvious when we look at their evening wind-down routines.
Those are sure.
To decompress from the emails, Daniel puts on his headphones and listens to a podcast. He goes inward. He uses auditory isolation to shut out the world. Hella, meanwhile, cooks a bowl of pasta and watches a TV show.
Comfort food.
Exactly. She is seeking sensory comfort carbs, which trigger serotonin release, paired with a visual entertainment to just quiet her thoughts.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we are analyzing two distinct neurobiological coping mechanisms. Hella is soothing her nervous system with physical inputs, the warmth of a cafe, the taste of a latte, the sensory comfort of pasta. Daniel is attempting to override his exhaustion through pure discipline. He stays in the environment of his stress, his home, his emails, and simply tries to power through it until he puts on those headphones to drown out his own internal monologue.
It makes the entire middle section of our day look like a desperate exercise in survival.
It really is.
We're just patching leaks in the boat, managing our cognitive load through whatever means necessary, whether that's a list, a latte, or auditory isolation. It honestly feels incredibly lonely.
It is lonely, and isolation is the fastest path to burnout.
Yeah.
But here is where the emotional intelligence operating beneath the surface of this transcript truly shines.
At the turning point.
Exactly. Hella listens to Daniel describe his evening. She hears about him staying home, fighting through emails, eating a dinner that he admits wasn't as good as her pasta, and then isolating himself with headphones.
See, here's the struggle.
She recognizes the friction in his routine, so she offers to cook pasta for both of them next time.
And Daniel immediately replies, deal. That single word changes the entire trajectory of the text. The daily routine suddenly moves from isolated, solitary habits like my commute, my breakfast, my to-do list, into a genuine support system.
It's beautiful, really.
Hella is effectively saying, let me manage your cognitive load for one evening by feeding you. Let me absorb some of the shock of your chaotic day.
Because you cannot out-optimize isolation.
Oh, say that again.
You cannot out-optimize isolation. Daniel's to-do lists are highly effective, but eventually internal discipline runs out. You need community intervention.
Right.
Hella's invitation isn't just about sharing a meal, it is a structural reinforcement of Daniel's failing energy reserves. This moment of connection is the necessary bridge that allows them to move out of survival mode and into the final, most crucial phase of their development.
Because if you spend your entire life just surviving the stress of the day, you never get to design the future.
Exactly.
But Daniel and Hella don't stop at the pasta. They start transcending the daily grind. Daniel reveals he's building a new, deliberate habit. He's reading books about self-improvement and discipline every single night before bed. And Hella shares that she has started meditating for 10 minutes every morning, specifically to cultivate calmness and focus.
They are no longer just reacting to their environment, they are intentionally rewiring their own neurobiology.
That's a great way to phrase it.
When Hella sits and meditates for 10 minutes, she isn't just closing her eyes. She is actively thickening the neural pathways in her prefrontal cortex, the exact area of the brain responsible for executive function and emotional regulation.
Wow.
She is giving herself a biological advantage so that the next time a mountain of math homework hits her, her amygdala won't trigger a panic response. And Daniel, reading self-improvement, that isn't just a hobby. He is downloading external frameworks of discipline directly into his own mental hardware.
And they are pairing this mental remodeling with physical upgrades, too. They both talk about making a conscious effort to eat less junk food and drink more water.
Mind and body acting in total synergy.
They even explicitly state the thesis of their journey in the text. Small habits can make a big difference over time.
It's the core message.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Okay, lay it on me.
When you look at this entire progression, starting with the beginner yawns, fighting through the intermediate emails, and finally arriving at this advanced meditation and self-improvement, it maps perfectly onto the experience of leveling up in a complex video game.
Oh, I like this.
Let me explain. Imagine you're playing a game. The very first tutorial level just teaches you the basic physics of the world. How to walk, how to jump, how to open a door.
Right, the basics.
That is washing your face and putting on your slippers. Then, the game throws you into the middle levels where enemies are attacking you from all sides, alarms are going off, and you are just mashing buttons to survive.
That's the intermediate phase.
Exactly. That is the flood of homework, the endless emails, and the frantic to-do lists. But eventually, if you survive long enough, and you gather enough skills and allies like Hella offering the pasta, you reach a point where you aren't just reacting anymore.
You're taking control.
You pull up the world map. You start plotting massive endgame campaigns. You define your own win conditions.
And Daniel and Hella's win condition is incredibly vivid. Daniel states his long-term goal is career growth and international travel. Then they both reveal their ultimate shared dream destination.
Japan.
Visiting Japan specifically to see the cherry blossom season.
It's a gorgeous image. But, it makes me wonder, are these massive, beautiful goals just an escape hatch?
What do you mean?
When you are drowning in emails and math homework, is dreaming about cherry blossoms in Japan just a fantasy you use to numb the pain of the present? Is it just a distraction? Or is it actually fueled by the discipline of that beginner morning routine?
That's a crucial distinction. Escapism is when you use a dream to avoid the present reality without taking any actual steps to manifest it.
Right.
If Daniel and Hella were just complaining about their homework and wishing they were in Japan, that would be escapism. But their dream is anchored to action. The cherry blossoms aren't a distraction from the work. They are the logical, eventual reward for the work.
They are building the bridge, brick by brick. Every glass of water, every 10-minute meditation, every to-do list checked off is a physical step toward that flight to Tokyo.
Exactly. And the conversation closes with Daniel stating a universal truth. Consistency is the key to success. The advanced goals are utterly dependent on the beginner mechanics.
You have to do the basics.
Right. You do not get to navigate a foreign country or fund a massive trip without the discipline to wake up at 6 a.m. and the resilience to survive the chaos of your daily obligations. Consistency is the invisible thread that binds the mundane act of washing your face in the sink to the grand poetic vision of standing under a blossoming tree on the other side of the world.
So what does this all mean for us, for you listening?
It's a big question.
When we step back and view the entire arc of Daniel and Hella's transcript, it serves as a profound mirror for our own lives. We began this deep dive talking about the universally jarring feeling of the alarm clock, the heavy, solitary burden of just waking up and facing the day.
And we watched the transition from the sheer simplicity of a loud yawn to the chaotic anxiety of external demands, and finally, to the deliberate, strategic design of a better future.
Personal growth is rarely a massive, sweeping cinematic event, is it?
No, it's a daily rhythm. It is the quiet willingness to wake up tomorrow, boot up the physical hardware all over again, and lay down one more stepping stone.
I want you to reflect on your own day for a moment. Where are you currently spending the vast majority of your energy? Are you still struggling to optimize your beginner hardware, trying to get enough sleep, drink enough water, and just get out the door?
Or are you trapped entirely in the intermediate stress, drowning in your own endless to-do lists and emails, just white-knuckling your way through the chaos?
Or have you managed to clear enough space to actively practice advanced self-improvement?
And perhaps the most critical question of all, are you allowing the people around you to help carry the load when you are stuck in that survival mode? Are you recognizing the stress in others and offering to make the pasta?
Because you cannot reach your ultimate destination in isolation. You need that support system to absorb the friction of the journey. Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with today.
Let's hear it.
Think about the conversations you have with your own friends, your colleagues, the people you text every single day. Are you just exchanging updates on your daily to-do lists?
The standard "I'm so busy" chat.
Exactly. Are you simply trauma bonding over how many emails you have, how terrible the commute was, and how tired you both are? Or, and this is the important part, are you helping each other bridge the gap between your mundane morning routines and your ultimate dream destinations?
That is such a good question.
The quality of your life is undeniably shaped by the quality of the conversations you choose to engage in. So the next time you grab a hot coffee with a friend, maybe it's okay to start by venting about the math homework or the emails, but make sure you don't stop there. Make sure the conversation pushes you out of survival mode. Make sure you end by talking about the cherry blossoms.
A perfect place to leave it.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep growing, and we will see you next time.